Yeah, it's really busy at work. Lots of support and lots of things going on, so it's all good. Yeah.
Good.
You busy?
Yeah, just yeah, not really, but I'm sort of half retired, so
Right.
yeah, this is all keeping us busy, isn't it? As well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Mark.
I'm going to pop myself onto mute while you're sorting everything out.
Yeah, just as a heads up, everyone starts on mute.
There we go. There we go. Hi, Dick.
And unmute. Hello.
Hi, Dick. Hi, Val.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Mary.
Paul.
Hi.
Daniel.
Yep.
What about recording the meeting?
It's ready recording.
Is it? All right, okay. Better be careful what we say.
Mary, Martin's having difficulty getting on tonight. I think he's lost, so I might have to do the men's shed.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
Mark.
if you
Hello.
tell Martin he can get on via the website. The link's on the website.
You can get on the website.
The link's
All
on
he's
the
got to do is click. All he's got to do is click on the link.
Yeah, but he's having trouble with the internet, so he might not be able to do that either.
Right. Okay.
Hi, Mark.
Hi there, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Mark.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're on. So we've got 5 minutes to go. We've got 8.
Yes. Yes, Ian.
Hi, Ian.
Okay.
South Gloucestershire, nowhere.
Are you sorted, Nikki?
Hello, David. Your microphone isn't on, David.
Hi, Dave.
Can you, when we're doing these proposals, can you see there's names? Look at the bottom. If you can give me the name of who's doing the proposing in them.
Not always right, Val.
Yeah,
I've got Mike's name under my face.
I think we've got my name on here, haven't we? Oh, he's just got iPad on.
You look a very good Mike, actually.
Okay.
Hi, Bill.
Derek.
Hi, Derek. Hi, Dave. Coming in.
Hi.
Hi there, Eric.
Hi, Mark. Mark.
Your AGM looks to be well attended.
Yeah.
So, they're not bad. Not bad.
There's only another 300 to go.
Anyway, Dave, welcome to our group.
Thank you. Have you been suffering with rain up there today, or?
Not terribly, no.
Not yet.
Oh, right.
How about you?
Oh, we're down at my daughter's in Portishead, so it's just been very windy and a bit of drizzle, but keep reading about various areas up the north that are likely to get flooded.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Martin.
Phones ringing always means somebody's struggling to get in, don't they?
Oh,
Hi, Peter.
Definitely. Is that Peter? And has Gordon come through?
Gordon's through.
See, I can't see everybody.
have you
Yeah, Gordon's in.
How have you done it, from the email or from the website?
I think Martin's got a virus.
Try to bring the website up, and it says on there, it gives you the link on there. Try it on there, see if that will help. No, if you go into the support group website.
Everyone's listening to you.
Hi, Hilary.
Oh, Hillary's joined us, has she? I sent the
Hi,
link.
Hilary.
You're muted, Hillary.
Press on your
Hillary.
screen, see a microphone, it'll have a cross through it, Hillary, and just press your finger on it.
That's it.
Is that better?
Yeah, we can see you. Welcome.
Hi,
Thank
Hilary.
you. Thank you.
So it's it's 7 o'clock. We've got 18.
I'm easy. I don't mind holding back a little bit if you prefer.
Sorry, what was that?
We'll keep trying. We'll see you when you come on. Anyway. No.
We'll have to start. We'll have to start anyway.
Okay, we're just about to.
To start with.
Okay, they're just about to start. Okay, thank you. Bye. No, he can't get on.
No, okay, don't worry. We'll have to cope without you. Okay, everybody, good evening and welcome. Thank you very much for turning out on this miserable night. Isn't it nice to do it from indoors? So nice to gather together. The only apologies I've received are from Jerry O'Brien. I don't know if anybody else has received an apology. No. And I would like to ask Peter Corbishley, please, to introduce David to us, because he's just going to do a small talk before we go into our AGM. Are you there, Peter?
Peter, you're muted. You need to unmute. That's it.
Okay, righty-ho,
I
apologies.
can hear you now.
Right.
Yeah, Peter, could you introduce David? Thank you.
Great start. Thank you. Yeah, in the build up to the last magazine issue, one thing that I did was to contact a number of different chairmen, organizers of prostate cancer support groups in the Southwest and Central Midlands area, one of whom was Dave Shepherd. And had a nice chat and had a nice chat after that. And although I've never met the guy, not even seen a photo until this evening, at least it's, you know, it was nice to be able to chat, you know, with people doing similar things to us. And I just got a gut feeling that Dave has got, you know, quite an interesting tale to tell. And the next 10 or 15 minutes will prove if that was right. But anyway, Dave, very, you know, thanks ever so much for coming along, you know, metaphorically speaking, and, you know, look forward to hearing fraternal greetings, if you like, from the Swindon area. All yours. Thank you.
Okay. Is somebody going to, can I share the screen or am I not allowed? I think somebody needs to, oh no, I think I can.
You should be able to, yes.
Bear with me. I take it you can all see that.
We can.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, thanks very much for the invitation. It's quite nice. And before going on, what I will do is please excuse any odd noises that you hear. I'm down with my 3 grandchildren at the moment doing homeschooling, so it's there could be a sudden door slam and a bit of a screech. Like you, I've very much a prostate cancer sufferer. It says on there I had a radical removal back in November 2018, and albeit nerve sparing, I don't know whether you all feel the same, but that certainly is doesn't do what it says on the tin, but I think we're all a little bit like that. The idea today was to just briefly talk a little bit about the Swindon Group, where we are, and hopefully where we're going. And any questions you want to ask at the end of it, feel free to do so. I'll move on. Okay, so we were actually formed in 2015, probably like all groups, by the urology oncology sort of nurses, the specialist Macmillan type nurses at the Great Western Hospital. And they actually ran it all the way up until 2018. But there was one key person that was running it called Sam Fletcher. And unfortunately, back in late 2018, she became quite seriously ill. And the hospital, to some extent, were blaming the pressure that had been put on Sam, doing not only her job there, but other things like helping to run the group. I'd actually only been involved with 2 meetings prior to this, but it was clear that we had to do something ourselves. We had to try and create some sort of organization. I'm always jealous when I look at those that are more organized than we are, especially as I'm a sort of one of these people that volunteers for too many things. And I'm chairman of the village hall where we live. I'm also chairman of the village shop. So to not have it organized was a bit much. But the meetings would tend to be led by Sam and one other person called Jeff Spooner. And so Jeff and I and somebody else that we dragged in, we tend to form a bit of a committee, although technically speaking, we're not really formal at all. But I'm sure it will happen one day. But one of the downsides of not being formal is we've got no membership fee. Now, even if that membership fee was 1 penny, at least you'd have a list of people that were giving you the 1 penny. And that of not having that list actually represents a bit of a problem to us. But anyway, when the 3 of us sort of started out, we set out to do a few things. We got ourselves listed with Prostate Cancer UK on their website as a group. We also found a group that I'm sure you've all heard of called Tackle. And Tackle were quite useful because not only could we get a group listing with them, but it was actually quite useful for us to create a website, which we hadn't had before at all. And so that was a good way for us to actually just put, because it was only a few pages within the Tackle site, but at least it allowed us to put on things like meeting dates and things along those lines. We actually set up a WhatsApp group, and I must say that the WhatsApp group is more social than it is support, because of course they're all members, and we get very few questions on that. But we do not get a lot of videos about funny things that have been happening around during the lockdown period. We needed to create an email address, and I'll emphasize this. I know it sounds a small thing probably to you guys, but up until this point, the only contact with this group was with the Great Western Hospital in Swindon, and they didn't really want us to have that anymore. So we had to do these things purely and simply just to keep on moving forward. We revised and did a lot more work with the handout that people are given as a part of the pack. But of course, 2020 comes along, and we weren't very long into 2020 before we were probably all forced down the Zoom route. As we are now speaking today, I bet your AGM last year was probably held where you all got together, had a drink or two afterwards. But of course, what Zoom did is it basically meant that we had to start to create some sort of database, because we had to know who we were actually contacting and sending details to, sending links to, etc. So we created a database. We created a register that I then thought, oh, we've got lots of snippets of information from previous meetings about who attended them. So I then went backwards as far as we could on the register, and actually found out that despite the fact that 7 members had actually joined us, given us their name and contact details, we never heard from them since. And of course, being the disease that it is, they could well no longer be around. So it was important for us to do that. So at least we're a bit on top of it better now. We had to get an email merge system purely and simply because, you know, when you're sending out, albeit only 40 odd, 49 emails to say to people, it's actually less emails, but when you're actually doing it, it's far better if you can actually merge them together. So it starts Dear Peter or Dear Dick rather than Dear Supporter. But there were some challenges, and I alluded to some of these when I actually spoke to Peter last year sometime. I don't know whether you did, but we didn't get one referral last year, not a single one. And so we sort of like thought, well, we've got to try and work out why this is happening, because, okay, there weren't that many people being diagnosed, but there must have been some. So we sort of approached the hospital, and don't forget we'd lost our key protagonist in Sam. She was no longer there at all. And every time we tried to move forward, they were really polite with us and they agreed that we need to stay in close contact, but they threw out, well, we can't give you the contact details because patient confidentiality and things along those lines. The other thing that we found that was a little bit annoying on our side, and there was nothing that we could do about it at the time, but our telephone number, even the one that we got on the brochure, was actually the same urology department that these people had been to probably 6 or even 7 times in their diagnosis process. And really, would they want to actually bother ringing them again? You know, it's one of those things where you just left a message and then, you know, hopefully would be passed on. But we actually thought that quite probably people wouldn't want to be contacting the hospital again. And that number was the one that was in our brochure. So we thought to ourselves, well, maybe we need to change that, because people might have had the brochure, they might have actually read it, but thought, I don't want to be ringing the hospital again. And we also found, and this sort of picked itself out even late last year, even after I'd spoken to Peter, that we always used to meet in the academy under the hospital. And it really seemed from the conversations we're having that once lockdown was all over, we might not be able to be there anymore. So again, if we've got to then start to meet in a, dare I say it, in a pub or in some sort of function room or even a village hall, then that's when we need to have more contact and more structure. But the last point is very valid. We have to maintain a good relationship. So we just basically have to fit in. So what have we been up to? Moving forward, the telephone number, I think this was really, really a poor thing on our part not to have one. So what we've done is we've now got our own telephone number that gets forwarded to 3 of us. You can guess which 3, me included, simultaneously. So if somebody rings our number, it rings on our 3 mobiles simultaneously. And the first one that answers it stops the others from ringing. So they're not going to get answered by 3 people, just the one. But the nice thing there is that it isn't answered, then the answer phone is not the urology department at the Great Western Hospital. The answer phone is Swindon Prostate Cancer Support Group. So we actually think that will be a benefit. If they leave a message, it's just converted into an audio file and emailed to us. It may well be that you guys have something similar like that. I actually spoke to Reading about that, and I know you know the Reading group because you've had Steve do a few lectures for you, haven't you, over the years. So I spoke to them, and I use the same company that they do for this, and it's turning out to be quite good. It's not too expensive. It's 1.5p a minute when they get through, which is not too expensive on a landline. Mobiles is more expensive, but what we do is we've actually set a system up whereas if they call and it's from a mobile, we take their details and call them back. The other thing we're doing is we've decided on a very bright coloured envelope because again, I don't know what your hospital does, but Great Western give you this massive pack of information, all black because it's Prostate Cancer UK. And our little tiny brochure in there was getting lost. So we're going to do a big bright coloured envelope. The brochure will be in there, an introductory letter. There'll be some contact details actually printed on the envelope, so they don't even have to go in there. And we're talking about a goodie or two. And as I'm a prostate cancer awareness volunteer for PC UK, I'm actually talking to them about whether or not we can just get a whole pack of the Men of Man or Man of Men pin badges and actually include one of those. So, you know, basically to try and get people thinking more positively about the group. I said it's being still considered. And in terms of maintaining good relationship, one of the things we've actually found, and this took a bit of work from one of our people, but the pathway facilitator is actually very pro us. So we've effectively no longer dealing with specialist nurses or specialist urologists. We're actually dealing with Paula, who is the patient facilitator, pathway facilitator, and it's good so far. And I actually think we'll do really well by doing that. Other thing, we're looking at the structure. I think I mentioned earlier, because I was really quite jealous because you guys sent me a lovely newsletter that you had got, and I thought, well, it's a shame that we just don't have this. Mention membership fees. I think you have a membership fee, don't you? And it does actually mean that you know your members. You know who is in there and who doesn't want to be coming anymore, or doesn't want to be a member anymore, or occasionally people, you know, have passed away and we just don't know, and it might be quite embarrassing that we're actually emailing and somebody in the family is picking that up. Do we want to be more formally constituted? You know, AGMs, chairman, secretary, treasurer, that, or even, you know, you could go one stage further. And I don't know whether you're a charity, but do we want to be a charity with trustees and all the administrative things that could actually cause? And we are going to think long and hard about a newsletter. I think with your permission, I'm going to show your newsletter to the camera at the next meeting that we have, just to get a feeling as to whether or not the membership feel we should, because we do actually have quite low numbers. As I said, we've got 56, but it may be only 49 because those 7 may not be with us anymore. And out of those 49, we actually only have 35 email addresses. And with posts becoming expensive, we would probably want to do it by email. I know you can do it differently, but don't forget you're charging a membership fee, some of which you can use for the postage of your newsletter. So we're going to think long and hard about that. But moving forward, we really feel that it's going to be good now, and hopefully we'll switch on with the new pathway facilitator and actually have a lot more referrals coming through. Certainly this year, because I'm hopefully with the jabs and the vaccines and everybody having it, we'll be in a situation where things will start to feel a lot better within a few months. So that's me. I'll stop the share, and then what we can do is, if anybody wants to ask, feel free. Sorry, I took 2 minutes longer than.
That's fine. The newsletter we've run for many years, David. We've been doing that for some time, and actually it's covered by the cost of our membership, really, and that's what we've always felt. The communication with our members is extremely important.
Yeah.
We know that we could perhaps get some of them on the website reading the newsletter, but there's an awful lot of people out there who don't use websites and things. So we still continue with the old-fashioned idea of posting a newsletter out, and a lot of people enjoy that. They quite enjoy receiving it. So it has helped us over the years to plan our events better.
I think it's a brilliant idea. I mean, it's actually quite interesting because, of course, one thing you mentioned there about postage, we actually, and this sounds really silly, we don't have the addresses of members, which is really, really poor. But there's nothing I could do. We've got the details of anybody that's joined since I've been there, but probably out of the 49 members, I would suggest we've only got 10 physical addresses. But we'll get there. That's a good point. I'm glad you actually raised that, because I shall make a note of that, because that is something that I shall raise as our next meeting. That, you know, if we're going to do anything like a newsletter, we have got to have people's addresses. How much do you charge for membership? Is it a £5?
£5 per member, yeah, per year.
Nobody complains about that. Maybe it's just
No, we've never had a complaint about it. No.
very good.
Steve,
No, I
one of the things that we talk about a lot is having someone at the point of diagnosis who can enable people to be referred to our group. And I think you're very lucky having a Macmillan nurse who in fact is sort of in the hospital where you work.
Yeah.
When Mary at the top there was the CNS, then we had a lot of referrals. But we do have a problem at the moment of inactivity in that area. So I think your group should actually grow, because of this.
Yes, I think you're right. It's taken time. We're actually quite lucky in one sense, is that I can't remember the date of the calling, but some time ago, the local NHS asked for volunteers for people in a hospital just to show people, give directions and things like that, rather than take the time of nurses and porters and whatever. The treasurer that we have, Mike Durham, he is actually a volunteer. So he spends quite a lot of time, or did, I don't know whether he is doing so at this very point in time because of this new lockdown. But he's the one that's actually sort of worked through and found that Paula Allen, who is this the Macmillan Pathway facilitator, is a really good contact. And we're going to build on that.
Good.
Yes, we did have a lot of support from our Macmillan hubs and our hospital as well. After I retired, it was becoming quite obvious that the amount of patients joining us was dropping quite dramatically. But the Macmillan nurses were more helpful than the CNSs actually. They would give our paperwork out. But now they're not allowed to put leaflets out in hospitals because of the virus.
No, I don't agree. I mean, the other thing that we've found just recently, and maybe this has come from the awareness volunteering side, but we're getting to know more groups like yours. I'm now, because I'm a awareness volunteer with the Hertfordshire hub, that then led to something else. So our group have got an invite to a meeting of FOPS. You've heard of FOPS? They're a North London group, and FOPS, I think, stands for Friends of Prostrate Sufferers or something like that. But what they do is that with their meetings is they always have a consultant neurologist there. And that's something that we've never thought of. But it's purely and simply the association of finding out a little bit about more groups that you get introductions to things like that, which actually could be good for our membership and help stabilize.
We've always had our presidents have always been consultant neurologists, and we've also got the support of our oncologists as well in the county, but they can't make every meeting, and they turn up when they can. But what's happening is they're not passing it down to the teams, or they're not asking the teams to hand the forms out, because we certainly haven't had any referrals directly from the hospital this past year. We took in, I think it was about 5 new members last year, 2020, which was very low for us. We normally took up to 50 a year.
Yeah. Blimey. The only one person that we got last year was actually somebody that had a prostatectomy about 4 years ago and was still suffering. And he just found us because he'd actually rang the help desk at Prostate Cancer UK, and they had actually put him in touch and said, look, and he's actually turned up at the last 3 meetings, and he's getting a lot of solace by the fact that he can talk about his personal problems, because he's pretty suicidal actually, which is not very nice in a meeting, having to sort of talk through those issues. But he's very much I'm not a man anymore, and I think he lives on his own, so he's sort of doesn't know what to do.
Can I just maybe wrap things up now? Dave, many thanks for agreeing to do this. Very keen to keep in touch, and I've got 1 or 2 ideas about your magazine, because I mean, quite a few of the pages that go into ours easily transfer to any other group. As an example, in March, we're aiming to do an item, well, a couple of pages really about lymphedema, you know, which is an issue for a number of prostate cancer victims and so forth. And what we write there could easily just be handed down to you and you use it. And so I think that that kind of working together in a loose sense, you know, nobody's trying to reinvent tackle or anything like that. But I mean, just giving a bit of, you know, making life easier for each other, for each other's groups, can't be anything other than a good thing. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So many thanks for coming along, and good luck with the homeschooling, and I'm sure we'll be in touch again soon. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, bye. I'll leave you to it.
Thank you, David.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Right, okay, back to the AGM then, all the serious stuff. So minutes of the last meeting, Mark, have you got those? Has anybody downloaded them off the site?
Yeah.
Paul did, well done.
Excuse
Well,
me.
my
Val
administrator.
did. Okay. Is there any comments to make? It's straightforward. It will be signed, obviously, when we can get together to do all the signing sometime. And so, okay, we'll sort that out when we can. Any comments at all from anybody about last year's minutes? No, okay, matters arising, I think, come up throughout the talk anyway. So I'm just going to go into my talk really. So I'm acting chair at the moment. I'm also still the secretary to the group, not minute secretary, but the secretary that organises the events, basically. So I will go into all this a little bit later on. We're now in our 19th year as a registered charity, and we ran the group for 2 years before it became a charity, so that's 21 years. But this is now the most challenging year we've ever faced. The pandemic has affected our lifestyle, not only of our country, but most other countries are also suffering the effects. Last year, an unknown virus was being discussed in January 2020 and has now devastated the world and affected the future of many countries' economies. At this moment in time, in our third lockdown, we cannot see life returning to normality for some time. Hopefully, with the rollout of the vaccines, we should be seeing some improvement, but this could still take several months, so don't book a holiday. As an organisation which supports men with prostate cancer, it has now become difficult to keep in touch with our members and offer the same kind of support we offered at our open meetings, where we introduced men to each other who were having the same treatment or had already spoken to somebody as a buddy. So we can't do that now when we don't have open meetings. We cancelled our open meetings from April last year, and now we are hoping that we can restart them sometime later this year. We were, however, talked into doing Zoom meetings by Prostate Cancer UK and Steve Allen, wonderful man, who helped persuade us to try Zoom talks for our members, and these started in July 2020. And so far, after 4 talks, have been quite successful. The last talk by Di Fox, who was the physical activity coordinator from the University of Worcester, contained information about her fitness class that she would be starting every Monday morning at 10:30 from the 4th of January for our members. She presents these very well, and with quite a few of us here tonight have joined in with them, so that everybody can do exercises at their own level. And these will continue as long as we want to use them, and Dyke is available to do them for us. So please join in, they are very, very good. I'm aware that not everybody in the group obviously has the technology and all the ability to have Zoom meetings. But if you can access a tablet or a laptop, you can very often see what the talks we've had, which are saved in video form on our website. So you can still see those and still see the exercise classes without actually attending them. So please utilise them. The website's very, very good with this sort of thing, and it does help to know that people are still using these videos. One big thing, going back to what David was saying, in a county that regularly diagnoses over 600 men with prostate cancer every year, we've had our lowest number of new members this year. As a result of this, we've contacted our president, Mr. Makar, and patron, Dr. Lisa Capaldi, to arrange for myself and Gordon Kingston, South Worcestershire, to meet up at some time in the future to discuss this problem. Plans are being made for more Zoom talks to be arranged from February onwards. Please check on our website, and when we got a newsletter coming out, next one will be the early March. It will be in the quarterly newsletters. Our biggest loss in 2020 was the death of our wonderful chairman, Paul Brothwell, in August. Paul suffered a rampant illness which took him from us too quickly, leaving us all shocked and bereft. He was not only a loss to our group, but to every organisation that he had been or still was involved with. A man who gave so much to his community and was still offering more. A man who cared so much for other people. We will never replace Paul, but out of respect for him, I am happy to continue as acting chair until the right person steps forward to take on this important role. It has been difficult to get new committee members, not helped by no public meetings, but anybody out there who would love to come along and help us and share the workload and teach us new things about how we can go forward would be very welcome on our committee at any time. Please contact myself or Gordon and let us know if you're interested in helping out. The committee now, Derek Wood is the only member that is standing down this year. Derek has been with us for many years and given us loyalty and support throughout. We thank David for all his help and wish him well, and hope that he still attends our meetings on Zoom or in public when we can finally get back to them. Gordon and Peter have stepped forward in helping expand our group's role. Gordon and myself have attended Zoom meetings with Health Watch for Worcestershire, and Gordon has attended meetings with the CCG. Peter, as he's just told you, has conducted a wonderful piece of research with prostate cancer throughout the area, and it was uplifting to find out that we were the only group doing regular newsletters. Actually, it was quite a positive feel, really. Peter is keeping in touch with the leaders of the other groups. As you know, he's just introduced David to us, and so he's going to get some more recommended speakers for us in the future. It's very difficult to keep on being the only person finding speakers. I used to pick them up when I worked much easier than I do now. So it's always as well, if anybody's got another recommendation, to contact me and let me know if you think somebody would make a good speaker. So please remember that, it's a big help. One of the problems we do have with our newsletter is we don't get enough photographs. If anybody is an amateur photographer, either in the south of Worcestershire or Wyre Forest, you'd be very welcome to come along and take photographs at our meetings and hand them on to Peter for the magazine, as Peter's now taking over the role as co-editor with John Mills. Paul Markle, still in charge of our money and does a wonderful job as treasurer and keeps us all on our toes. It's a crucial job, and the work that's involved with the paperwork and the challenge he gets from them is really quite hard. Paul has also started the men's shed at Leapgate Farm, and we'll be talking about this later on, as it grows in every respect.
Very funny.
Val Markle, Paul's wife, is a stalwart of this group, and she has now stepped down as our minutes secretary, as Mark, as Paul has taken over from Val. Please, I don't know if any of you can see Mark, but wave to him. Yes, I can see Mark, yes. He's taking the minutes down now for us. Thank God he hasn't got to write all this. Bella's still got many commitments with the group, though. She helps Paul with his clerical work. She does labels for the newsletter. She comes and helps us pack the newsletters into the envelopes. And along with Hilary Brothwell and Margaret Shakespeare, produces the food that everybody eats at the town hall. Though Val is now a co-opted member on our committee. Derek Scully is in charge of the membership database and support contacts, which is a very good role to have, because they really do a very good job for us as support contacts. And we hope we can plan a meeting with them in person sometime later this year. If not, perhaps a Zoom meeting with some of them. Dr. Dick Herbert will continue on our committee, bless him, offering help and medical advice to us all and helping us supporting us all throughout our work. David Underhill is the link for Tackle. You all know what Tackle is from what David was just saying. Tackle is the organisation that covers all prostate cancer support groups in the country. And David is their link for our group. Richard Langley has been our saviour in these difficult times, already helping as our PR man and website manager with Daniel Cook, our website designer, but now he has managed all our committee meetings by Zoom talks. Wonderful. Got used to them nearly. And also all the talks we've had from the various speakers and the fitness classes that Di runs. The work they've achieved and the extra information being loaded onto our website is crucial to enable us to connect with our members. Nikki Langford also contributes with this and the website and social media, promoting the group on Facebook and Twitter. Martin Harrington, who still hasn't got here to the meeting, I don't.
He's arrived.
He's on it.
Oh, he's arrived.
He's arrived.
And Eddie Rudd are co-opted members of our committee and have helped Paul with the men's shed and informal gatherings and growing skills. All these are willing to stand again as trustees / co-opted members, and Peter has now been voted in by us on the committee as a new trustee also. I want to thank everybody for all their help and work and their dedication through this very difficult time. And we'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when.
We'll meet again.
We'll meet again.
Well done, Mary.
Thank you,
Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Right, now then, who's next? It's our treasurer.
Right, I thought you got to.
No, mine later.
Okay. Good evening, folks.
Good evening.
As I explained it in an interim report, which was published in the last Supporter magazine, 2020 has been a difficult financial year, not just for our charity, but for most UK charities, due to the cancellation of fundraising events. For those of you who don't have a hard copy of last year's accounts, they are available on the website. There's also a breakdown of last year's donations. What I'll do is I'll run through some of the important figures posted in the accounts. Income. We received in 2020 £12,707. If you do a comparison between 2020 and 2019, we actually received £17,784, effectively a £5,000 deficit. The situation would have been much worse had it not been for a generous donation of £3,500 from the Rainbow Trust. The income from the 2019 tractor run, which is £2,119, plus our membership donations, combination of all three helped prop up the accounts. But we could have had some difficulty if it hadn't been for those major donations. On the expenditure front, with most of our formal meetings and events cancelled in 2020, we spent just £7,935. When I say just, if you do, again, a comparison with 2019, we spent £14,797. Again, a difference of £6,860 odd. Our average spend in running the group is around 15,000 a year. So at 7,000, we're some way down the shopping list, so to speak. If you take the expenditure, which was 7,935, which is what we actually spent this year, take that away from the income, which was 12,707, you have an increase in resources of £4,772. It gets more complicated. The balance sheet. Unrestricted revenue from 2019, that was a figure of 31,905, plus an increase in resources from this year of 4,772, which I've just mentioned, totals £36,677. Under the balance sheet, we're looking to balance those figures out. So our current assets in Lloyds Bank were 25,958, cash in hand £11, charity investment account 10,708. That totals 36,677. So we have a balance. The accounts have been examined by a gentleman by the name of Warren Hall. I played golf with him, so he's quite a decent sort of guy. He was a former financial director for Tarmac when he worked for a living. The accounts for 2020 have been signed off as a true record by Warren. Just a quick word about 2021. I believe that due to the uncertainty as to when COVID-19 restrictions will be lifted, we may be facing another lean year with regard to donations. Some of our annual events that we have in the past that have been money spinners for us can take months to actually organise. The time's running out. We've lost revenue from the tractor run this year. But apart from all the doom and gloom, our financial position is sound. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. Okay, anybody got any comments to make? No?
I should like to thank Paul very much for his hard work. I think the position of our support group and the charity is actually pretty reasonable given the situation that so very, very many charities find themselves in. I'm involved in a couple of others in some meaningful ways, and I think in a way we're quite fortunate, but obviously Paul is right to caution us about the future. And I think probably, Paul, we need to just spin forward the expenditure that we might expect, difficult though that is, in this coming year. And then the committee can think about what it does need to do to make sure that we are covering ourselves. In a way, we're a very fortunate position that we have big-ish reserves, but we all know that life brings up some very unexpected happenings at the moment, and we'd be as well to actually do a little forward budget just so that we've got a feel for what we might need to do. And I personally don't have any doubt there are lots of both members and individuals out there who would be willing to help us if we wish. So thank you again, Paul.
Thank you.
And Gordon, when it's your turn.
Oh gosh, shouldn't have said, should have. Okay, I'll try and, can you all hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Just to try and keep to the key things, you will find that the report that we put together is pretty short and it's on the website for those of you who haven't actually had a look and downloaded it or read it. Clearly not a lot to report, but I'd like to make mention of just half a dozen things. Just as with the main committee at Kiddie, we are really in need of 1 or 2 more committee members, both in the north for the main committee and 1 or 2 for the South Worcestershire group. If you could spread the word, I think that would be very helpful. I think again, Mary, we should of course put a further strong line on the website to invite people to consider joining us.
Good idea.
Secondly, as far as the public meetings are concerned, incidentally, Mary, we actually had a March meeting that was cancelled with Steve as well, early in last year as well. I know you referred to yours, but we also had one. And isn't he a Trojan? And undoubtedly, once we're allowed to have public meetings, he's already indicated he'd be willing to come back to Worcestershire if we so wish. I did say last year, and I repeat this year, that what we'd like to do is to increase the networking and partnership with other bodies. So wasn't it good to have Dave talking to us tonight from another group? And just so that other members may not be aware of some of the networks we've tried to maintain a link with, Mary and I did actually attend the Tackle AGM and the very good technical reports that were provided on that meeting. That was one. I've attended in the past, just as the year ended, the last Midlands Urology sort of patient network, which is helpful. And we're not obviously paying anything to join these things. They're not costing us anything. But I do think we keep our eye on what is happening in the medical world, and we hear about developments earlier than other groups probably. We also attended, Mary and I, a medical leaders Zoom meeting fairly recently. Again, that was a matter of updating people about really what's happening in the COVID world as much as anything. And more recently, Healthwatch has organised a meeting with the CCG on a quite interesting development. It could be really quite significant, a portal development for patients. This is to provide individuals patient information and the links to your specialists and GP surgeries and so on, all obviously only available to the individual, and they're going through trials at the moment using breast cancer as a model. We know that prostate cancer is to be the next cancer to be used as a patient model, and we'll be invited to continue inputting into that, and they've already accepted one of our members to join that patient inputting process. That's enough on that. I'm sorry that we've not managed to get a specific meeting with Adele McCarr and with Lisa about the links that we've been so troubled about in getting referrals from newly diagnosed men in the county to the support group. They have both registered very positive support for our involvement. I think the willingness is there really, but it's a matter of translating that into action. I have somewhat belatedly drafted a second letter to go to them, which Mary hasn't had a chance to see yet, which we'll get off in the next couple of days to prod them and try and get either a Zoom meeting or a connection with them in this next few days, possibly before the end of the month. We will report back to people, obviously, both at the next Zoom meeting and online as well. The other thing I can leave until later is the flyer. Can I just make mention then of something else that you'll see in the next Supporter magazine? We have followed up the absolutely excellent survey that Peter took charge of and ran, which he put a lot of time into and has had some really super information back from neighbouring support groups across the region. After that, we set up a short survey of readers' expectations and likes and dislikes of our own supporter magazine. We'll put a proper article and some figures in the next magazine, but I wanted to share with you the really terrific news about what happened from it. First of all, we had well over 50 responses. Now, bear in mind that figure, 50, over 50, with a membership of about 500, anyway, just less than 500. 10% in all surveys is regarded as pretty darn good anyway. And the most exciting and important thing, of course, is that everybody enjoys reading it. You might like to know that the responses we got, virtually half were online and half were through the post on paper. Isn't that interesting? The fact that we had such a high proportion online, which I think didn't dumbfound myself and my friend Faust, but we were not expecting quite such a high proportion. Also important is that whilst, as we've all expected, members are still wanting to see the paper copy, and of course we shall want to continue doing that, but 75% of them wish to see it still on paper, but quite a high proportion, 25%, were quite happy to have it as an email attachment. Now, as we go forward, and if we look at costs, etc., if people want to receive it online, if we can get our act together organisationally, there's no reason why we can't save a bob or two in postage via that route. Anyway, I think that's enough for me. I think that's all I had on my list. I will just make mention of the fact that the articles that people liked were probably your own likes as well. Pretty much everybody enjoys the medical articles and the crosswords, you know, the quizzes, that sort of thing. But quite a few people would like to see a range of other material as well. So we'll give that information out in the article in the supporter magazine that comes out in March. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Gordon. Thank you. Right, Derek Scully.
Right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes. We currently have 431 members and 30 support contacts to support all of our members. And I would like to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to you all for your support over the years. Hopefully, as Mary's indicated, we will be holding a Zoom meeting shortly for all the current support contacts. And the link to the meeting will be in the Supporters magazine and on the KWP CSG website. We do, however, need additional people to put their names forward to become support contacts. Hopefully, our membership will increase this year. Training is provided for the role, which is not an onerous one, but very rewarding. It requires contacting a member twice a year, minimum, to see how they are progressing and if they require any support. If so, then the support contacts will have a copy of the guidelines for buddies and support contacts, which will signpost members to an appropriate person or department. So, if there are any volunteers, then you can find my details in the Supporters magazine or on the website, or join the support contact Zoom meetings. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you. Thank you. Right, that leaves Maiden Shed then.
I don't know, Martin. Can you have you got the paperwork, Martin, or can you not communicate? He can't communicate.
No, he wants to unmute, Martin. Unmute.
No, he's off. I'll rattle off the Maiden Shed.
He's on now. He's on now.
He's on?
Yeah, he's on it.
Yes, he's on here.
Well, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Martin.
Oh, good.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Can hear me? Oh, good.
This is your opportunity.
I've been practicing this for days.
Oh, wow. Can't wait.
Are you ready? Are you
Are
ready?
you ready, Martin?
Right.
Ready.
Right. This is great. Men's Shed. Right. Now then, the Men's Shed Social Activity Group was formed in November 2018. with the express purpose to offer members of the Kidderminster of Worcester Prostate Cancer Support Group an opportunity to meet socially and engage in activities as that are designed to reduce the issues of anxiety and stress that are sometimes associated with a diagnosis of prostate cancer. In my book, all the time. We had meetings initially in Kidderminster, but early in 2019, we moved to Leapgate Farm, which some of you may know, off the Wilden Lane, just on Wilden Top. Now, in 2019, we did have some meetings, which was
COVID-19 has put a damper on.
And we did try some activity. Sorry?
Sorry, go on, carry on, Martin.
You what, sorry? No?
Carry
All
on.
right. We did have some activities. Sorry? No, we did have some activities. RAF Cosford, we had an indoor bowling event, and we had also arranged an outing trip. That went down very well. Can't quite understand why, but it did. Now then, Leapgate Farm, some of you have been there, you know what it is, but for those who don't, let me say the farm is offering to us a fully equipped woodworking workshop, an allotment, my pride and joy, a greenhouse by 14, a cafe, and a newly completed community. It's frustrating for some of us that were able to get over to the farm, socially distancing, of course, during last year, to see the building spick and span, but unfortunately empty. Now we do hope to run our meetings when we can there, and also any events that we could do. Like all organisations, last year was a complete no. We have got a trip to the National Arboretum, Memorial Arboretum. We planned it, we sorted it out, we had the coaches all booked, and then it had to all go. It all had to stop. Also, we were going to do another indoor bowling session. Now then, we in 2021, this year, we have been offered a larger piece of land, a larger allotment, which would be ideal because it's sloping gently down. It's facing the south and southeast to be ideal. There will be no need to have any heavy lifting because the plot will be mechanically rotated for us. So what I'm saying now is that if there's any member wishing to join the group, whether it's just for a coffee and a chat at our monthly meetings, will also be some lovely refreshments served by the cafe, or if you want to get in, for those of you who have never done any growing of anything, it's certainly very rewarding. And if you've been like me, of course, initially thrown your garden over to grass and flowers and then regretted it, although I've opened a little bit in my own garden now, but it's an ideal opportunity to rekindle those that ability to grow your own vegetables. There's nothing better in my book than to eat your own vegetables that you've grown. So in actual fact, the venue is free to all members, and so that everybody would be more than welcome. So I'll ask you to, if you're interested, to ring myself. on Kidderminster 636235. It's all on the website. Or my good friend and colleague Paul Markle, again, Kidderminster 75355. And we'd love to hear from you. And as soon as we can, we'll get on that farm and we'll times. And until then, stay safe.
Thank you, Mark.
Cheers, Martin.
Good, thank you very much. Thank you. Right, now then, we've got to do the election of officers again. Val, can you take over at this point?
Yes, okay. Right, I need a proposer and a seconder, please. So firstly, Mary Simons is willing to continue as acting chairman and group secretary. Can I have a proposer, please?
I propose.
Okay, and the seconder, please.
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
I'll second it.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed those. Who was the proposer?
Martin, sorry.
Martin, thank you.
Martin Harrington, well-known gardener.
And Dick Langley for the seconder.
Dick seconded, thank you.
Okay.
If you could shout your names out because we can't all see each other, so Mark can get a name. Thanks.
Right. And for Paul Markle, he's willing to carry on as group treasurer. So can I have a proposer, please?
Yeah, I will.
Who's that?
David.
David.
Yeah.
And a seconder, please.
Dick Herbert's seconded you.
Okay. Now then, Mary's already gone through the committee and everyone is willing to continue. So if we can take them en masse as the committee, can I have a proposer, please?
I will. Hilary.
Hilary, thank you. And someone to second it, please. No, you can't, Martin, because you're on the committee.
All right.
Can we have one of the other gentlemen, please? Bill.
Yes, Mark. Mark will do it.
Mark, okay.
Mark Howard.
Thank you very much.
Mark Howard. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you very much. Thank you very
Okay.
much for attending as well. Right, we have, thank you, Val, for doing that.
That's okay.
Yeah, well done.
We have a new promotional flyer that Gordon has been putting together. He's put it on the website for anybody to look at. Has anybody looked at it?
Not yet, indeed, so no.
Yeah, I've looked at it.
No, I haven't looked at that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much perfect now.
You do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, presumably it's the amended one, isn't it? It's the one that we're going to use. Oh.
There we go. That's it.
All right.
Wonderful. This is it, yeah.
That's the real, that's the amended thing one, is it?
Yes,
Because
it
it
is.
started up as a.
It is, yes.
Right. Okay.
I mean, please let us have any further comments. It is not a done deal. You can send comments to me or to Mary. We're very happy to further consider what needs to be done. There are, as I mentioned to the committee, a couple of things we are still considering, and it'll be hopefully refined a little bit more before we go to print. Okay.
Manual. Okay, that's page 2.
Wonderful. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you to Gordon for putting it all together.
Well,
Put a
I
lot of
should,
hard work in that.
I should pay tribute to the enormous help that Peter's given me, Peter Corbishley, and also, of course, Mary's chipped in as well as we've gone along. So please let us have your comments, if you wish to send them. Plenty of time to do so at the moment, but we will get on with having it printed before too long. Okay.
Thank you, Gordon. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other business? Is there anything else to be discussed?
I have forgotten earlier on to also make mention of Paul Brothwell. Of course, we all support everything that Mary said, and I think it would be remiss for others of us not to have at least contributed today by saying how much he did for us and how much we valued all the work that he did. A final thing is that some of you know that we invited people to send donations to Prostate Cancer UK for their current year's research and development work, a topic that Paul was passionately interested in. And I know that there's almost £600 being donated to Prostate Cancer UK in Paul's name. So thank you to anybody who did so. If you wish to, you could still go on and put some on, but thank you very much. And what a smashing tribute it would be. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Right, thank you very much, everybody who's turned out tonight. That's been really good. And I think that wasn't bad for a Zoom meeting, was it?
That's very good.
No, I'd just like to say that in the background, you can't see him, but Daniel's been
Oh, yes.
orchestrating this whole thing, and I think it's gone off really well.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Daniel. Without
Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel.
No problem.
Daniel, well done. Yes, it's a wondrous thing getting these things all together. We all chat away. We don't really know what's gone into it. We've had some wonderful moments over the last 12 months learning about Zoom. But without it, we wouldn't have had a group left, to be honest. We wouldn't. You know, it would have all disintegrated as the year went on. So it's kept us all together. It's nice to see everybody. It's nice to see people turning up for the Keep Fit classes and still joining in together. And thank you all very much. And we will meet up in person again sometime.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank
Mary.
you.
Thank you very much, Mary.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you,
Bye.
Mark.
I'm
Bye.
gonna leave now.
Just looking at the rest of them.
No, I'm gonna leave now.
Okay, Mark.